Tapping a 3-hour black and white Japanese language film as the basis for a video game is pretty strange, and changing the setting from feudal Japan to a bleak futuristic landscape only intensifies that, but this is exactly what Sammy has done with Seven Samurai 20XX. The narrative behind Kurosawa's original Seven Samurai is a simple but elegant story of a group of samurai who take on the task of defending a poor farming village from a group of raiders. Seven Samurai 20XX is basically about the same thing, except that the band of thieves has been replaced by crazy genocidal robots. The whole men on a mission thing is pretty basic story archetype, and this could have potentially been a pretty smooth transition. But instead of just leaving it alone, Seven Samurai 20XX injects the story with all sorts of anime-inspired melodrama. It gets to the point that this peripheral junk eclipses the actual Seven Samurai story, and it kind of makes you wonder why Sammy even bothered using the Seven Samurai name in the first place. The advantages of all the liberties that 20XX takes with the Seven Samurai structure is that the game can easily justify your character constantly blazing through room after room of killer robots. The action's pure beat-em-up. It's kind of like Dynasty Warriors with fast pacing and button-mashing friendly controls. Nato, the character you'll play as, has just one attack button and a combo system that will basically have you jamming on that one attack button non-stop. You can tap the L1 and R1 buttons at the same time, and Nato will bust out with a second sword, which basically doubles the speed and the reach of his attacks, but only for a limited time. You can extend your two-sword fun by just pulling a just move, which is a fancy name for timing certain dodge, block, or attack moves just right. The game starts getting a little challenging at about the 5-hour mark, but it takes its sweet time ramping up the difficulty, providing you with plenty of soft enemies and health pickups. The fighting doesn't really change over the course of the game, and it's all pretty simple, but it can get pretty speedy and pretty crazy, which, is fun. So when you're not slicing up robots, there's some adventure game stuff, and you'll run around and talk to NPCs and stuff, but these sections are always short and always optional. The overall pacing of the game is kind of funky. It pretty much goes like you fight robots, walk down a hallway, watch a cutscene, walk down another hallway, fight some more robots, and so on. All this stuff in Seven Samurai that's not fighting robots really screws up the pacing, and the game would be better if it just wasn't there. After going through the combat hallway, cutscene, hallway combat cycle a few times, you'll start to get the feeling that there was originally going to be a whole lot more to Seven Samurai 20XX. The big thing that Sammy likes to tout about the visuals in Seven Samurai 20XX are the character designs of French designer Mobius, who is best known for his illustrations in heavy metal magazines. He also did some design work for movies like Alien and The Fifth Element. His design sense is kind of distinct, but you don't really get that from the characters, who mostly just look like generic anime characters with the half-shirt armor and the feathered hair and what have you. By contrast, the environments tend to look pretty boxy and bland, save for the neon-lit casino district. Ironically, Seven Samurai 20XX looks both its best and its worst during combat. Nato's got some pretty flamboyant swordplay, and there's some dizzying slow-mo camera stuff, and there's almost always an overwhelming amount of lighting and particle effects, and all that can make just watching the game a treat. But it also makes for some really spectacular slowdown. And it's not like the slowdown is minor or occasional. You can barely go through a fight without having the speed of the game drop by half for seconds at a time. Though it's unable to clear some of the technical hurdles in the visual department, the graphics are at least more inspired than the sound design. It's not that the sound is bad, exactly, it's just easy to ignore. The voice acting, it's passable, though there are little sound bites that get repeated ad nauseum during combat. Other than the occasional canned "arg" your character will let out when he's hit, the sound during combat is dominated by stylized sword flashes, which, fits. The music is largely made up of down-tempo percussion stuff for cutscenes and the adventure running around stuff, and loopy action movie techno for the fighting. The music's actually pretty good, but it would have been nice if there were just more songs. This game is probably going to draw a pretty divergent crowd. There's going to be the people who are interested because of the Kurosawa connection. If that's you, you're not going to be happy with the way the story is handled. Alternately, if you're looking for a frenetic beat-em-up, 20XX may scratch your itch, though the weird pacing and the wildly inconsistent frame rate are things to keep in mind. If you want to know more about Seven Samurai 20XX, check out our GameSpace. Word.